this in perspective. And black women, I want you guys to listen to me. And here in the U.S., black Americans are
the only person that's trying to put this together. Am I the only person that's making the most sense out of this? Why are so many of y'all like this? And now
a man to capture most of the market, whereas if you have one man with one woman, you actually end up allowing man number 2 to get woman number 10 would have been with man number 1, and that these high value men that are able to sleep with many women because they see.
Welcome to the Daily Read, and I am your host, Marcus Gentry. Now today we're going to talk about the high HIV infection rate amongst black women. We have a problem here in America, and the problem stems from a lot of different sources. Okay, now I want all my people to listen to me carefully, because this is going to be a very important show. Number one, for the last 20 years they've taken a lot of the pimps off the street. They claim they are womanizers, abusers, and what that has done is it placed the men who have funds easy access to whores. I'm trying to explain this to where the average person listening to this can understand it. Why there are so many black people in America that's being affected by this, mainly black women. They have become their worst enemies. A lot of it has to do with feminism, hypergamy. You got these men running around here with their cape on. You got these tricks, you got these simps. You see, it's not just about the pimps. It's not just about the government shutting down prostitution when it comes to the pimps, because the government has not shut down prostitution. Okay, every 2 or 3 years, and you can look this up, every 2 or 3 years they'll do a nationwide bust on all the pimps at one time, from California to North Carolina, from Chicago to Florida. They'll do a nationwide sweep, pick up all the pimps, arrest them, charge them, give them 10, 15, 20 years. What that has done, it has let the tricks and the pimps, it has let the tricks and the simps, it has opened the door for them to deal with the prostitutes straight up. There is no middleman. You see, the pimps used to regulate this stuff. Okay, it's not just about the pimps, but I'm just trying to give you that perspective of it before we go on to the next thing. The pimps regulated it. When your husband, and I'm talking to you women that's married, when your husband got mad at you and went to go get some sex from somewhere else, he would have to deal with a pimp and a prostitute, and he had a middleman. The middleman would tell him, you finished busting your nut, all right, go home. And that was the end of it. But now that they've taken all the pimps off the streets, the simps, the married men, all of this other stuff can deal with these prostitutes and promiscuous women straight up. They're putting these women in houses. They're putting these women in apartments. They're paying their phone bills. And pimps used to regulate that. There is no regulation no more. And for some of you conservative people out there who hate regulation, sometimes regulation is a good thing. Okay? So now you got a population of men who are high value, got money, who used to deal, because men are still men. They still like sex. They still like women. The problem is now there's no gatekeeper over that. Okay? I'm trying to give you the message plain and clear from not just societal perspective but a street perspective. So now that you got these men out here that got their cape on, telling these women, get a job, I'll pay your rent, I'll pay your phone bill, I'll help your kids out when you need some extra money. So now all of the women who are promiscuous, that's willing to sell themselves for money, they've blended in with normal women. And now they're infecting normal women with their bad sexual behaviors. Okay. Now they're out here twerking. Now they're out here turning normal girls into prostitutes, because these normal girls used to see a prostitute and keep going about their business. But now that there's no pimps to regulate that, all of these women are grouped in together, picking up the same traits and the same habits. So now a normal girl working at Costco can see a dude that got him some money, and he can proposition her and she'll go for it. Back in the days, a man like that would proposition a normal prostitute, and that's it. Also, you got another situation on your hands. Society have protected all these women so much to where they went overboard. Nobody wants to tell these women, you're out here being a whore, you're a prostitute. Nobody wants to tell these women that. So not only have you gotten rid of the pimps, but then you put a blanket over all of these women under the protect all women rule. They can do whatever they want to do. And now you got a situation that has gotten out of control to where a lot of our black women are starting to get infected by the same group of men that they're circulating through. Okay? I said on last week's show that 80% of the women chase 10, 15, maybe 20. I wouldn't even give it 20. But 10, 15% of the men. Once these men get tired of them and want to go marry somebody decent, they throw these women away. When these women get thrown away, they start stuff like the T-app. They start using and abusing normal men. They come into a relationship with a normal guy who's working a 9 to 5. They really don't want to be with him, but they got all of this baggage. They got all of these kids. They got all of these mental issues. And they enter into these relationships with these men, these normal men, use them up, and these normal men become a resource. We don't want you. We're not trying to build a legacy with you, but you're going to help me take care of my kids. This has become a problem because now the HIV infection rate has skyrocketed in the black community when it comes to black women, not black men. Okay? Another thing that has happened, I'm trying to give you the forest, not the trees, because if you look at the individual trees, you might say, well, this is the problem. Well, this is the problem. No, all of this is the problem because it's all coming together in a pattern. And you know, I love to talk about patterns on my show. I'm gonna let Anton Daniels, I'm gonna let him cook for a minute, but I also want to tell you about sexless men, which is another reason why the AIDS and HIV population is not rising in men like it's rising in women, because there are a lot of men who are going sexless because they are normal men, and women have basically thrown them away. And now the society, and I want you guys in radio land to listen to this very carefully. If you're not a top earner, these women that come into your life are playing with you, sucking up your resources, which is why a lot of men are getting their passports. A lot of these women believe in hypergamy so bad to the point where they'll take a brief moment to stop and be with you maybe 6 months, a year, but they're always searching for something bigger and better. And that has become a problem. And when black men start addressing it, they get shamed out of the community because they feel like you're attacking women. I want y'all to listen to this very carefully. You're not attacking women. You see a problem and you're addressing it when other men are not addressing it. They're just trying to say, stop being an abuser. You're trying to say, I'm not an abuser. I'm telling you, these women are whores. And now that this high HIV infection rate has kicked in amongst black women, what you gonna do now? You got a high population of men in America who have gone sexless. They've dropped out the dating game. Period. They play their video games. They work on their businesses. They do other things than to worry about a skeezer, a hoe, or a thought, or a 304, whatever you want to call them. They're focused on something else, and guess what happens? They start being labeled incels. They start being labeled homosexual or gay. DL, all of this bullshit. And what these men are telling you, community, what they're telling you is, we don't want to deal with that shit. I don't want to waste my resources on a woman and a household that has the majority of the kids in that household not mine, and then I have no leadership or respect in that household. On top of all that, she's going to still sleep around with other people. So men are telling you, society, that we are waking up. And you are telling us that we're incels. I haven't had sex with a woman in 2 years. I still get my rocks off. Don't care nothing about that. Not because I'm an incel, not because I'm a DL person, none of that shit. But because we done got to the point where we don't care no more. If you see 4, 5s, and 6s trying to shit on a construction worker, when you see somebody like Ebony K. Williams tell the whole world she'll date the bus driver owner, but she won't date a bus driver, are you joking right now? And this is what the men in America is trying to tell society. We've woken up. We see you. And we see you men who are the cake wearers. You know, just like a comic book hero. You know, you try to play the hero. We see you. And there's another man I want to introduce on this show who's going to talk about the sexless men who have stepped back from society. Because you have this big of a population, a large population of the women chasing a small population of men. and they basically thrown all the other men away. And when these men try to check you about that shit, now they've changed the narrative. Now they're trying to say those men are dangerous. And I've showed you time and time again through the gold digger pranks that some of these women don't believe a man's dangerous unless he don't have money. But as soon as they see a man get in a Lamborghini, they run back. They ready to have sex right there on the spot. One girl said last week she know how to make her throat stretch. She don't even know this man. She dissed him about a minute before, told him she's not interested. Why you bothering me? And then as soon as the man got in the Lamborghini, she ran back to the car, knocked on the window, and said, "What's up? Didn't you try to talk to me earlier?" The man was like, "Nah, I'm good." She said, I can make my throat stretch. Are you joking right now? And this is the behavior that society is trying to cover up. They're trying to blame everything that's going on with black women. It's actually going on with women in general, but it's really affecting black women because black women are more promiscuous than white women. So it's really affecting black women. So the society as a whole is trying to cover it up and make it seem like it's the men's fault. It's the men who are DL giving these women HIV. That's a goddamn lie. And you're going to see how everybody that's talking about this on this show is trying to avoid blaming it on the women. You are the women who are going around sleeping with a handful of men. So the handful of men are giving you HIV, and now you just come out with a blanket statement saying it's the men's fault. No, it's not the men's fault. The men is not having a rise in HIV cases. It's the women having a rise in HIV cases. So that means if the women are fucking like that, if they're fucking like that, that means they're fucking the same people. And the same people are passing HIV back and forth to each other. Let's get on with the show, because I'm gonna let Anton Daniels cook.
The Daily Read, your source for news, politics, sports, and all things trending. Here's your host, Marcus Gentry.
Let me put this in perspective. And black women, I want you guys to listen to me. Here in the U.S., black Americans are mostly impacted by genital herpes. But it's the black women that take the higher percentage. And if I'm being honest, when I first made the Discord back in August, that's who I had in mind. No one looks out for us.
You see what I mean? She just admitted that black women are at a higher rate of STDs. But then she turned around and tried to run the Victim Olympics, claiming that nobody looks out for you. Everybody is looking out for you by covering it up. Nobody's putting the blame on you when it should be on you. You're the one running around throwing it back on every man that got money.
No one. We're overlooked all the time. We're like the last to be thought of, if we're even ever thought of. You guys, just educate yourselves, protect yourselves, because you guys have to know, as much as we love people and take care of others, everyone doesn't always feel the same way about you.
What are y'all looking for? That's what I'm trying to understand. Do you know why it's disproportionately affecting you and not even black men? Like, I know that there's a segment of the population that is obviously suffering from this, but do you know why? And it's not just herpes, it's also HIV, it's also every other STI and STD that you can think of. Do you know why? First of all, it's because y'all all sleeping with the same men. Ta-da! You're all sleeping with the same men. So if you wonder why you're disproportionately affected, it's because y'all all getting tested after sleeping with the same guys that all of y'all are going after and all of y'all are continuously getting pregnant from. That's the number one reason first. The number two reason is that you're not marrying before you're carrying. And so if you're asking why aren't people saving you from yourselves or going out there and making sure that they're taking care of you afterwards, it's because you said that you had it. You said that you got it on your own. You said that you was the most educated. You said that you were the most informed. You said that you can do what you wanted to do and it was your body, your choice. And so while I sympathize with you because I don't want anybody to suffer from something that they're not supposed to have, at the same time you have 1,000 different forms of contraception, and the only one that I hear y'all talking about on social media on a regular basis is something that's not even contraception, but you're using it as a form of contraception and making sure that you delete your babies. And so y'all can't wait to say, hey, make
He's talking about Plan B.
sure you get rid of it, but you don't, when it comes to a baby, but y'all don't want to have the conversation about never putting yourself in a position to get in that situation in the first place. And I think that that's the more pertinent conversation. That's the thing that's the most conducive for you. We got it so backwards. We're so backwards. It's so stupid. It's so stupid. Yes, educate yourself. Yes, be mindful. But if you were married and you were not sleeping around, then you would not have to worry about this in the first place. Am I the only person that's trying to put this together? Am I the only person that's making the most sense out of this?
No, you're not. But I will say this about Anton. He's one of the few men podcasters on the air that is saying it as what it is. Black women, you are the one who is promiscuous. Yes, black men cheat. But the level of hypergamy in our community is so high that most of these black women have turned themselves into slick prostitutes. And the reason why I say slick prostitutes instead of regular prostitutes is because they've changed the meaning of this shit. They've taken all the pimps off the streets. So now any woman can be potentially a prostitute. And then they changed the definition of it to where I'm not a prostitute. I'm just getting what I deserve. I'm not a prostitute, but I don't want no man making less money than me. I'm not a prostitute, but I'm a work wife. Not his real wife. I'm a work wife. Or I'm a side piece. They've changed the definition of this shit to make themselves not look like what it is. It's prostitution. Plain and simple. Some of you women have turned into goddamn whores. And when men like me and Anton and other men step up and say, this is what it is, they get hung to the cross. Because women in general in our society today are the most protected besides children. You got men out here with their Superman capes on. But I'm going to tell you something really interesting that's finna happen. As more and more men like me step back and start finding wives in other places outside of the communities, these women are going to have to rely more and more on your husbands. I'm talking to you married women out there who are not running around. You see, the pimps used to regulate that shit. You come in, you a married man, you come in, you get your sex, and you take your ass home. Don't try to wife these hoes up. But now that they've taken all the pimps off the streets, they made anybody that's even thinking about getting involved in that, they even went so far as to turn hip-hop artists against pimps. Pimps used to be in all the lyrics about 20 years ago. Now you got gangbangers and drug dealers, literally, and I mean this literally. You got gangbangers and drug dealers who done sold crack to their aunties, going around saying, I don't fuck with pimps, they womenizers, they abusers. Are you joking right now? They've done this so much in our society to the point where pimps used to be one of the top rated underground criminal dudes in the communities. Well respected amongst drug dealers, well respected amongst criminals, thieves, boosters, all of that. Society has done this so bad to the point where a pimp is disrespected now. This is how much they're protecting you women. But you got to have some kind of leadership over this shit. Because this is what's happening. When you ain't got nobody to regulate the whole prostitution shit, it gets out of control. And then when you start blending in the prostitutes with the normal girls, the normal women, the normal girls and the normal women try to act like the prostitutes. I'm going to give you an example of what I mean before we keep on. The word bitch. What's up, bitch? What's up, bitch? Yeah, what's up, babe? What's up, bitch? That used to be lingo dedicated to prostitutes and pimps. But now normal girls are picking up on it. All the hood lingo that the pimps and the prostitutes used to have to identify each other. Let me go further so you can understand it. A pimp could walk in the club trying to find some prostitutes. Maybe he can get some of them in his stable. He might walk up to a group of girls or a girl or something. He'd be like, what up, bitch? What you up to? If she says, bitch, who you calling a bitch? He'll back up. Oh, I'm sorry. Because he know he ain't found him one. But if a pimp walk into a club or a bar and walk up to a woman and be like, what up, bitch? What you up to tonight? And she say, nothing, daddy. He know he got him one. He got him one. That's the lingo. They understand it. They know when a pimp call a prostitute a bitch, he ain't meaning that shit in a derogatory manner. Just like people say, what up, my nigga? That's the lingo. And now the shit done been blended so much in the female communities that the normal females are starting to pick up on the pimp and prostitute lingo. All of this shit is blended now. Let's continue on.
Why are so many of y'all like this? And now you can remove the excuse and say, oh no, it's down low guys or whatever. No, that's not.
And that's another thing about the down low guys. Stop it. Homosexuality is a very small part of the population. Let me cam up. That whole down low shit might happen every now and then. Let me tell y'all something in the community that's listening to my voice. For the last 20 to 30 years, women have been going after the top tier men and teaching their daughters to go after the top tier men. When society, as far as the men go, started picking up on that, and started calling it out, now they changed the narrative. Well, it's not because I'm a prostitute. It's because you guys are down low. It's because you guys are you don't make enough. You got to understand where this is going. You guys are dangerous. Middle class and poor men to some of these women are considered dangerous because that's the propaganda that they're putting out there. Dangerous and down low. That's to discard you. They want to discard you by saying you don't make enough, but they know society is starting to look down on that now. So they're discarding you by saying, oh, he's down low, or, you know, he's dangerous, or he a predator. That's how they're trying to discard you now. Instead of just saying, I'm a hoe, and I don't want to deal with that guy because he's poor. I gotta get around men that got money. So that shit gonna make you look like a hoe. So instead of you just coming out clean with that shit, they changed the narrative. All these men are down low. What Anton is trying to tell you is you can't keep going with that narrative because all of you women are fucking with the same men. If 80% of you women are fucking with 10 to 15% of the men, that means all of these down low brothers you talking about got to be in that top 15% because you ain't fucking with the other men. That means there's a small portion of American men who are down low. You ain't even fucking with the other 75% of the men. So what the fuck is you saying? Let's continue on.
No longer the conversation. That's not why anymore. I'm pretty sure that probably still contributes to it, but no, I'm not going for it no more.
About how monogamy is a sexual redistribution.
Now, this is very important, people. Okay? This right here is Sean Williamson. And he's going to talk about sexless men. Men who have gotten their passports. Men who have taken themselves out of the dating market. Men who don't fuck with Canadian women or American women. They've taken their resources, keeping it to themselves, and they're going other places to find wives. And what he's saying is, I want you guys to really pay attention to it because this ties in to the whole HIV crisis that's going on with black women. It ties into it because hypergamy is real. And when you got a large population of women who are chasing a small population of men, it's going to cause so much chaos and confusion that a society can't sustain itself like that. Because it's all about legacy. Every man, even if you're rich or poor, wants to have a legacy. And if you got a small portion of the men pumping babies into a large population of the women, and then those women are getting tossed away, and then finally realizing, I need to find some help. And now you're running back to the population of men that you really don't want to be with because you need help. A society like that can't sustain itself. Let's continue on.
Distribution strategy.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, so this really fascinated me. The fact that if you have one man with many women, you allow one particular man to capture most of the market, whereas if you have one man with one woman, you actually end up allowing man number 2 to get woman number 2, whereas previously he would have been looking at woman number 11 because women 1 to 10 would have been with man number 1. And
I hope you guys will get that. I'm gonna rewind this back a little bit, because what he's saying is, in a normal society to sustain itself, man number 1 gets with woman number 1. Man number 2 gets with woman number 2. That's how you build legacies. But when man number 1 has the option to play around with woman number 1 through 10, all of the rest of the men have to deal with woman number 11. And she might not be a viable option. She might already have 4-5 kids. She might be mentally slow. She might be genetically imbalanced to the point where all of her kids come out deformed. He's saying a society can't sustain itself when you got man number 1 putting babies in women number 1 through 10, passing around STDs to women number 1 through 10, and then everybody wants to blame the men. It's not the men, it's the women 1 through 10. It's you. Because if 1 through 10, if 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 of you say, you know what, I'm not finna chase that guy, he already has woman number 1 through 3, I'm finna go find me somebody else. That's how you sustain a society. But when you got one man who's creeping around with woman 1 through 10, a society can't sustain itself like that. Let me rewind that back so you can understand it. Hold on for just a second. Let me rewind that back so you can really get the gist of what he's saying, because this ties in to the HIV crisis.
That if you have one man with many women, you allow one particular man to capture most of the market, whereas if you have one man with one woman, you actually end up allowing man number 2 to get woman number 2, whereas previously he would have been looking at woman number 11 because women 1 to 10 would have been with man number 1. And that kind of explains, I think, some of the resentment that you see in the black pill culture and in the incel culture around these chads, these high-value men that are able to sleep with many women, because they see them as tying up available women's reproduction potential during fertile years when they could have been dating other people, and also, how would you say?
I hate to say this, but I'm gonna go on and say it. Fuck it. He's explaining things in a rational way, but it might go over some of y'all heads. What he's saying is women in their more productive years, if woman number 1 through 10 in her more productive years is sleeping around with man number 1, that means the other men 2 through 10 are basically left in the dust until they reach about 35 or 40. By that time, all of these women who have already had babies in their more reproductive years are coming to these other men in their later years wanting princess treatment, wanting these men to wife them up, wanting these men to help them take care of bastard kids that's not theirs. There's no legacy for you. It's all about legacy. There's no legacy for you. You're there for resources. And these men 2 through 10 are starting to wake up and say, hold on, what the fuck is going on? I want a legacy too. I want a junior too. So you know what? I'm finna take my resources and go somewhere else. This is what he's trying to explain to the population.
Kind of bunching up the line, moving the queue tighter and tighter together, in a way which has trickle-down effect that has potentially competed them out of the dating market.
Absolutely. So these black ball guys will, as the meme goes, they hate Chad and Stacy. And it's funny you mentioned that, because you are correct. So, and the researcher, I forget the name that you mentioned.
Robert Wright is the book.
Robert Wright, yes, entirely correct, I think, in that monogamy in the grand scheme of things is probably a newer concept, a newer thing that's come about. It was never the case in antiquity that we engaged in monogamy. It was typically polygamous, right? We had harems and such. And I do think that there is an argument to be made about returning to that, specifically when we talk about imbalance in the sexual marketplace, with a small percentage of men hogging a large percentage of women. So if we look at Tinder data, for example, it's, most of the men on Tinder, of the profiles they come across, females, they'll swipe right on 60% of them. When it comes to females, they'll only swipe right on 4.5% of them. So that is a massive imbalance just on Twitter usage. And that is even compounded by the fact that 78% of individuals that use Tinder are male. And so 22% of people that use Tinder are female, which means of the demographic, of the smallest demographic in terms of gender, the vast majority of these women are being selected by the vast majority of men. And the opposite is not true for females.
Dude, I've just realized the implication of what you're saying, and I've
Listen to this very carefully, people. What he's about to say will blow your fucking mind.
never thought of this before. I think about this shit a lot, right? I've read everything that you've read. I've read a lot of stuff around red pill and black pill. And I've only just realized that one of the potential solutions to this is to go back to a polygamous culture, because if women can't get rid of their hypergamous nature, if we can't raise men's level of competition up in order to...
You can't raise men's competition up, because the normal pay for a human male is $30,000 to $65,000 a year. Everybody can't be a millionaire. Everybody can't be a thousandaire. Somebody got to wash cars. Somebody got to pour concrete. Somebody has to drive the school bus. Everybody can't be rich. Okay? So if everybody can't be rich, but these women only want top tier men, listen carefully what he's saying about how society will crumble.
Be able to match the women. One of the solutions to make fewer people overall be single is to have many women with one man at the top, and then just leave the men at the bottom to be cast away. That's fucking terrifying.
And that's what's happening in our society. That's what's happening in our society. That shit is fucking terrifying, because a society can't sustain itself like that.
Terrifying, and it's not what we want to do. That is a recipe for disaster. That is a recipe for social upheaval and just societal disintegration, if men are simply cast aside because they're inadequate.
Fuck. But that's the case at the moment. That's the case at the moment with it being non-polygamous.
These are the stats. Look at this screen, people. The rise in HIV in women is almost 50%. The black male has been basically steady since the 80s, from what the CDC is saying. They still have new cases, but the rise in women, black women, is off the charts. 50%. 50 fucking percent. This is unreal. And this is what's going on in our society. Like the man said, when you got a small portion of the population,
cases of HIV and other sexually transmitted infections.
when you got a small portion of the population of men, basically got a foothold on a large a portion of the women, it's an imbalance. So all of these people are sharing diseases. They're sharing children, and the rest of the men are basically being used for labor to help a country run, and being used for resources. And it's going to cause an upheaval, because men are getting tired of that. Whenever you see a 4, 5, or a 6 with 4, 5 babies trying to treat a normal man who she's supposed to marry in the first place like a piece of shit, It blows your mind. You're overweight, argumentative, got bastard kids by other men, and then you get with a normal man after you're 35 or 40 and don't be humble. That's starting to cause a rise in men stepping up saying fuck you. Fuck you and fuck the men that's riding with you. Because make no mistake about it, men. I'm talking to you men now. Make no mistake about it. You got some men out here who got that cape on. You better trust and believe. You got some men out here who are simps and tricks, but they have funds, resources, popularity in the communities, and they get their top choice pick of the women. Not just the beautiful ones, but the ugly ones too. And that's going to lead to a society that's going to crash because the normal men are saying, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going somewhere else.
Are on the rise in our area and rising faster than anywhere else in Texas. Tonight, Matt Doherty looks at which parts of the city are seeing the highest rates of new cases. He joins us live tonight in West Houston. Matt?
Yeah, the study shows the rates of new cases are rising across the board, even among some diseases you may have thought were long gone.
HIV, syphilis, gonorrhea, chlamydia, all of those. So it's a big issue we have here in our community.
Legacy Health's Director of Health Navigation, Jill Johns, sits down to discuss what nobody wants to talk about.
A trip or a burning sensation when they pee or a discharge from their genitals.
Sexually transmitted infections.
Harris County and Houston in particular has been surpassing the rates of STIs in Texas.
Due to the lag for required reporting, the most recent data in the report covers the time period between 2016 and 2022. What it shows is alarming.
Between 2016 and 2022, the rates of syphilis in our area doubled.
Highest rates of new HIV cases were seen in Montrose, followed by the Second Ward and then Setgast. Although the sexually transmitted infections are found in basically every demographic in Harris County, the study found that there is one population that is testing positive for them more frequently.
Who y'all think the population that they talking about? There's one population that is coming out positive more frequently. Who do you think they're talking about? Pay attention. So when you hear these Houston and HIV, here we go. Let's go back.
Although the sexually transmitted infections are found in basically every demographic in Harris County, the study found that there is one population that is testing positive for them more frequently.
Particular Black women.
Y'all heard her. The focus, I see all these think pieces about dating in Houston as being is pee in the dating pool, and these black men don't do this and black men don't do that.
That's a lie. These women saying this are talking about a small portion of the men. They're not even fucking with men under a certain price range. That's why you don't have a high case of HIV in the male population. You got to understand where this is going. And they keep trying to blame this shit on men. No. They keep trying to say DL men. No. A lot of these women have turned into basically whores and prostitutes.
Y'all heard it.
The study found that there is one population that is testing positive for them more frequently.
Particular Black women. So Black women who are heterosexual are frequently getting STIs at a higher rate than other groups.
The best place to start is from a position of knowledge. Legacy Health offers free and confidential HIV and STI testing, and some results you can learn within minutes. In West Houston, I'm Matt Doherty, KHOU 11 News.
There it is, man. So, I mean, I know sometimes the black community, we tend to protect black women from telling them the truth, But sometimes you just gotta, put it all out there, man. And I know it's,
Even him, I like this guy's show, but even he is trying to avoid just saying it. You bitches is turning into whores out here. Because guys like him, see, Anton Daniels is so wealthy, he don't give a shit. You either too wealthy to give a shit, or you basically like me, shit. I'm trying to start my business. I don't give a shit because I don't care. But guys like him who's stuck in the middle, he's trying to walk a fine line. He's trying to tell you black women, hey, yeah, it's your fault, but we're trying to protect you. No, take that fucking cape off. Take that Superman cape off.
For entertainment, people get on social media and tell these dating stories, but health professions, we know where the issue is, especially in the black community. Men who have sex with men and black women.
You see how he just did that? You see how he just went back to the same talking points about men sleeping with other men and giving it to women. That's the excuse. Instead of just saying, you bitches are whores. What the fuck are you doing? You out here fucking everybody that's got money. Instead of him saying that, he wants to walk that fine line and then just say, well, it's because of the down low men. No, stop it. Let's continue on. This is interesting.
Now, the rate of women living with HIV by age, race, and ethnicity, and this is for Texas. Texas in particular.
Look at this shit.
Black women are in the blue. So you can see in every category of the ages, and this is the rate per one.
These are all diseases, not just HIV. Syphilis, gonorrhea, all of this shit. Black women are shooting up through the roof.
100,000, black women actually lead in all categories, even from 0 to 14. These are the numbers that represent black women, Hispanic women, and white women living with HIV. Okay? In all the age groups. More about black women and HIV in Texas alone. But it's one thing that I want to show y'all that is probably alarming. Right over here, 1 in every 690 Texas women have HIV. But if you look at black women, 1 in every 156 black women is diagnosed with HIV. In Texas, the whole state, if you have 156 black women, at least one of them are going to be infected with HIV. And that's in comparison to Hispanic women, 1 in every, 1,080, and then white women, 1 in every 2,146. You see that difference right there? Since 2012, 51% of new HIV diagnoses in Texas, Texas women under the age of 25 were among young black women. 51%.
I said 50. He's saying 51%. That is high. That is crazy high.
The rate of new HIV diagnosis among black women in Texas is 5 times the rate for Hispanic women and 10 times the rate for white women. We discussed that. Black women have the highest case counts of gonorrhea and the second highest case counts of chlamydia, primary and secondary syphilis in Texas.
United States, as quiet.
Now, this is the last thing I'm going to talk about on this show. Because I keep trying to tell you that everybody is trying to put a blanket over this shit. Everybody is trying their best to keep black women safe and away from the truth. Even this is a doctor. Watch how she spins the whole black women rising in HIV cases. Watch how she spins this shit.
As it's kept, 1 in 5 HIV infections actually occurs amongst women. And the majority of those women are black women who are infected with HIV. What the data shows is that when you compare black women and white women who are infected with HIV, the black women who become infected with HIV actually have fewer sexual partners.
You see, liar, fucking liar. She know, look at her face. She knows she's lying. Keep going.
More likely to use condoms, and yet are more likely to become infected with HIV because there's more HIV in the communities in which they're having sex.
She putting it back on men. Putting it back on men.
Nobody wants to be a statistic, right? You want to be a person. If you're in a community where there's a lot of HIV and you don't know it, the chances of you getting it are higher. If we keep thinking of HIV as something that only happens in those communities, then we won't get tested, because you'll say, oh, that's not me. I don't fit that bill. I'm not that person, so I don't need to get tested. Not because you didn't make all the right choices.
See how she trying to spin that? You know, she's babying these women. No, bitch, you a whore. You stepped out here fucking around with every man that got a Lambo. Everybody that got motion. Fuck the construction worker. Fuck the bus driver. You're a modern day whore.
But because you allowed the story to stop you from getting tested.
It's an outbreak, not just across Texas. Remember I covered Texas yesterday. Texas is #1, but it's spreading all throughout the United States. Are you surprised? I'm not surprised at all. Everybody's sleeping with everybody, unprotected. What will y'all expect? Ain't nobody going to getting checked. Family, you already know what to do, and if you're brand new too, thumbs up this video so YouTube can push this content out. Smash subscribe to join the tribe, and ring the post notification bell as well. Alright, let's get into it.
There has been an HIV outbreak among these cities and states: New Orleans, Louisiana, Houston, Texas, North Carolina, South Carolina, Atlanta, Pennsylvania, Alabama, and Jackson, Mississippi. There has been a crazy rise in HIV diagnosis across these cities and states. And the outbreak is so bad because of hookup culture. I saw this one comment section.
You see how he trying to avoid saying it's the black women. You're the hookup culture.
It was an 18-year-old guy, and he said it doesn't matter if anyone gets HIV because now they have medicines to prevent it from being full-blown AIDS. So HIV isn't as big a deal as it once was. What? Might I add, this is mostly among young people ages 16 to 25. There's also so many people who know that they have it, but they don't think it's a big deal, so they still go around and sleep with whoever they want, unprotected, and they pass it on to every single person that they sleep with. Girls and guys, the same. Also, there's been a huge rise in dudes being DL, meaning...
See? That talking point right there. That's a goddamn lie. Most of these women ain't even fucking with guys that make less than $100,000. Won't even look at them. They'll look at your clothes, look you up and down, and be like, nah, I ain't fucking around. All the time. What is you talking about?
Undercover, and they are sleeping with men who have it, but then in a secret life, but then going home and giving it to their girlfriend, wife, or just other women, female partners. Remember,
I'ma end this right here. Like I always say, man, back up. Let the shit burn itself down. Find your wife somewhere else. Because American black culture, that shit is cooked. And it's really cooked now that you got all of these venereal diseases running around. This is the Daily Read, and I'm out.
The business, motherfucker.
The Daily Read.